Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and how Lego is changing Dungeons and Dragons forever. Really fascinating. So let's jump in. All right. So right now I am running Dungeons and Dragons 2024. 2024 is not the first time I've run online Dungeons and Dragons, but it is the year that I ran online the most. Now, just like every other sad sack in the world, I ran D&D online because I had to during the plague years of 2020 to 2022. And that was rough. I think all of us, we were doing it because we had to. But 2024 has been a powerful online year, and I've gotten more out of online Dungeons and Dragons in 2024 than I ever have. I have a player called the Gold Player, and we have just been banging out these incredible campaigns online, and it's been extremely rich. But I'm very fortunate. I still got friends, which is a whole subject. But every now and then, my friends will reach out, and we'll talk. And so recently, one of my friends, the Iron Player, reached out and said, "Hey, what's going on?" We talked a little bit, and I was like, "Hey, anytime you're up for it." My two main jams right now are D&D, right, and Magic the Gathering Commander, right, and I'm up for either one of those. And this player had told me that they had they recently came into a significant amount of vacation time, right, and so they're taking some vacation. I'm like, "Hey, if you got a lot of free time, just let me know. Run some D&D." And so he's like, "Yeah, that's great. Let's run some D&D," right? So basically, I added another physical table game to my Dungeons and Dragons, right? So essentially, one of the things that was really nice was it was left at that, run some D&D, which meant it's completely open on my end, which is really nice, right? Because I'm willing to listen to players, but generally, I despise Session Zero. I think if you run Session Zero, you are the lamest dungeon master and you are the lamest dragon master possible. Session Zeros are for absolute bog standard losers. I despise Session Zero. Oh, let's have a committee to have a tabletop role-playing game and talk about our drama points and plan everything to the point where it's like those people who use a flow chart to plan a vacation, use a spreadsheet to plan a vacation. Nothing could be lamer. There's no better way to squeeze out all joy from a Dungeons & Dragons campaign than to run Session Zero. And if you run Session Zero, you are a sad sack loser, right? I'm convinced of this, right? And so, thank you. Next, keep moving. I don't need any of your nonsense committee noise here, right? Keep going. I despise Session Zero with a passion, right? So I have a Session Zero free Dungeons and Dragons, and so I was able to enjoy the preparation incredibly, right? And it really very powerfully illustrated how powerfully Lego has changed Dungeons and Dragons in literally less than a year, right? Well, actually, I guess it's less than a year. It came out the Red Dragon's Tale set came out in May. It's literally less than a year, and Dungeons and Dragons is fundamentally changed forever. So let me explain how. So first of all, I get to roll into the FLGS and sit down and play a physical table D&D game with my good friend. And so the first thing I did was, I got my Legos prepped, right? And so the first thing I did was I looked at all of my Lego minifig builds, and this is so powerful. Every Lego minifig build now, right? Before they were just some stupid piece of plastic you put on a shelf, and you're like, "Oh, look at my build. What do you do with it? Nothing," right? But now every Lego minifigure build is a campaign. It's it's tactical infinity with Legos, right? Every single one, right? And so, first of all, I actually sat down with all of my Lego minifigs, right? And so the first thing I did is I removed all my Marvel minifigs. I'm like, we're going to run straight D&D here, so this should all be fantasy based. So I removed all of my my Marvel miniatures, right, and my DC Lego minifigs. Then I removed all my Lego City minifigs, because I'm like, I really want to let's keep this the shape of. You could certainly run Dungeons and Dragons with all of those, but I wanted to run a traditional medieval European setting, right? Like traditional Dungeons and Dragons, right? So then I came across the core 4, right? Now I'm telling you now, okay? I'm telling you now. In my humble opinion, the core 4, right? The gnome fighter, the elf wizard, right? The orc rogue, and the dwarf cleric are going to be the most valuable. It is my opinion, humble opinion, simply my humble opinion, not monetarily, but culturally. These will be the most valuable Lego minifigures ever created. First of all, I think one of the reasons why is they're going to be incredibly rare. The only way to get them is by buying a $360 set, which I did day one. Those sets are not easy to come by, right? Are outrageously expensive. And so those minifigs are, so first of all, I just took them off the board. I'm like, I ain't taking these to an FLGS and getting them lost, right? I'm not losing my mind if the dwarf's hammer skitters across the floor and then I'm on the floor looking for it for 20 minutes. So they're just too valuable to put at any table, in my opinion, right? And that's weird, because that means that the core 4 are almost never going to see play, right? There's a few circumstances under which I would use them in play, but it's going to be extremely, extremely rare, right? And certainly never in a public FLGS, right? So next, I had my Dungeons and Dragons official minifigs from the Lego Dungeons and Dragons official minifigs figure series, right? Now, these are great, right? Because these are still available. They're not that hard to get. I don't think any of them have spiked through the roof. I could be wrong about that. I haven't even checked their value lately. But I literally have unopened packs, right? So these are not difficult, right? So I put all of them in the box to be chosen as fully playable characters. Now you're like, wait a second, Scott. You can't do that. Tam is in that set, right? And the Lady of Pain is in that set. And Strahd von Zarovich is in that set. Yes, they're all playable player characters. You're like, how would somebody play the Lady of Pain? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, she would be able to switch every single day into a new species and class. Level 20, across the board. Level 20, Asimar Rogue. Level 20, Kalistar Fighter. Level 20, Dwarf Cleric, right? Just on and on and on and on, right? Same thing with Strahd von Zarovich, right? He owns his own realm. And same thing with Tam, right? They use their magic to take a different form each day, right? And of course, Lady of Pain would be neutral, and Tam would be evil, and Strahd von Zarovich may be evil or neutral, depending on how the player would want to play them, right? Then you have the Aarakocra Ranger with his puppy. And these are all fully playable player characters, right? And I'm saying, hey, listen, so when I start the campaign, I'm going to say, hey, your tactical infinity is preserved. I'm going to go through and I'm going to present all these different characters that you can play based on Lego minifigure builds that have been officially provided by Lego or have been custom crafted by me, right? Fascinating, right? Fascinating. And then there's like 20 things in the box. In addition to that, I am risking my my Lego Red Dragon set, because I'm making playable the owlbear. Gets to be a familiar, gets to like be your companion animal, or a displacer beast, or a gelatinous cube. Now you're like, wait a second, how does somebody have a gelatinous cube as a companion animal? Well, there was recently a very good Dungeons and Dragons novel which had an Oitug who was actually the companion for the group. So I am just so thrilled to be presenting this Dungeons and Dragons Lego campaign, and so thrilled to be not constrained by Sad Sack Session 0 play, right? So thank you to my Iron Player. and I'm extremely excited. And I had such a blast just getting ready for this game. And I don't think we talk about that enough, right? People are like, oh, I'm a dungeon master and I have to prep. Good Lord, you thankless piece of crap. That's half the fun, is the prep session, right? Like, that is a gift to you, and stop pretending it's not, right? Like, geez, unbelievable. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on Dungeons and Dragons and Lego. Every single, the most important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.